Hello, friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind GodUpdates and GodTube, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
Teens turn up at Grandma's doorstep week after week following the tragic loss of her grandson. Written by Mel Johnson, read by Adam Staten. High school sophomore Sam Crowe used to enjoy a weekly breakfast on Wednesdays with his grandma, Peggy Winckowski, but then he died in a hit-and-run accident. However, a group of Sam's peers formed an amazing act of kindness following the tragedy. The teens stepped up and kept the Wednesday tradition with Grandma Peggy going strong. Faith in the next generation is officially restored. Sam Crowe of Bishop DuBourg High School in St. Louis used to meet up at a local diner with a group of teens every Wednesday for a weekly breakfast. However, one day a realization struck Sam. My grandma can cook better than this, he informed the group. Sam's grandma, Peggy Winckowski, cooked for him and his friends. After that, the group started meeting at Grandma Peggy's for their weekly breakfast. This weekly tradition happily carried on until one day tragedy struck. Sam Crowe died in a hit-and-run accident, and after that, everything changed. The loss of her grandson hit hard, but Peggy Winckowski didn't have to suffer alone. The very next Wednesday, the group of teens showed up to comfort Grandma Peggy. They came here every day for the whole week, she said. They just wanted to make sure that I was okay. The weekly breakfast continued, and the size of the group continued growing. Sam would be so proud. Look at what he started, Peggy said. It melts my heart. The weekly gatherings aren't really all about breakfast. They're about a community of believers bearing one another's burdens, and the kids get just as much out of it as Grandma Peggy. It's really not about the food, one student said. It's just about being together. She cares for us a lot. She really cares for us, said another. We're keeping Sam's memory alive, points out another classmate. Peggy Winckowski will always feel the loss of her grandson, but with her dining room packed with teens and filled with laughter, his memory and legacy lives on. What a shining example of how the body of Christ comes together to shine the light into the darkness. Doctors gave her baby a death sentence, but Mom considers the 199 days he lived a blessing. Written by Adam Staten, read by Adam Staten. Allison Blosfield ignored her doctor's advice to end her pregnancy, and the 199 days she got with her baby boy were a true blessing. While pregnant with their baby boy, a woman and her husband learned he had Down syndrome and hydrops fetalis, a deadly condition that causes fluid buildup around vital organs, but they refused to end the pregnancy, choosing life and the miracles that followed instead. Life is the most precious, delicate gift which must be protected vigorously in all its forms. Without life, absolutely nothing else would be possible. The Lord is the author of all life and decides who receives this most sacred and cherished gift. In a clip posted on YouTube, Allison Blosfield and her husband Eric learned that they would be welcoming a baby boy into the world. The couple was also informed that it was more than likely that their child would have Down syndrome. After learning this news, Allison was devastated, but her husband was more reassured in his reaction. It was just kind of this instant, like sinking feeling, Allison said. My husband's reaction when I told him that our baby was going to have Down syndrome, it was very calm. And it was very just, whatever happens, babe, roll with it. It's cool. Don't worry about it. While I'm sitting there like sobbing. Allison posted about her unborn child's Down syndrome diagnosis on social media. She says members of that online Down syndrome community immediately reached out to her, welcoming her and her family with loving, open arms. They offered her reassurance, kind words, and encouragement. However, at a follow-up appointment, Allison Blosfield and Eric learned that their baby boy had developed hydrops fetalis. Hydrops fetalis, according to the video, is a life-threatening condition in which excessive fluid builds up around the child's heart, lungs, and other vital organs and tissues. The doctor gave the couple the option to terminate. Allison refused to end her unborn baby's life. I remember sitting there when the doctor said, here's your options, we can terminate. And I was just like, I could be done. I could just be done and run away. And after I took a breath and thought it through, I was just like, no. Eric and I told them, we're going to take our son home, and we're going to spend time, like a family, Allison added. After receiving the devastating news, Eric and Allison Blosfield prepared for their unborn child's passing. But then something unexpected took place. Allison began to feel baby Ethan kicking and moving, which he continued to do. Then, at their next checkup, another miracle took place. The medical professionals could not find any fluid around the child's heart or lungs. The doctor told the couple, this never happens. The hydrops fatalis was completely gone. However, the doctors told Eric and Allison that Ethan had a severe heart defect. They told the couple Ethan would not make it to birth. If Ethan did survive and make it to birth, the chances of living beyond 24 hours were extremely slim. In December 2022, baby Ethan entered the world. He spent the first month of his life in the NICU dealing with a heart defect, but it was not as bad as doctors thought. Despite being in the hospital, undergoing an extensive heart operation, and constantly fighting, Ethan's health deteriorated dramatically. Eric and Allison made the painful and gut-wrenching decision to take their precious baby boy off life support. Both spent time with their child, holding him in their arms on the hospital roof. The first time the child had been outside, Eric and Allison got to spend 199 days with their precious baby boy. After the child's passing, the family held a celebration of life to honor baby Ethan. My son lived 199 days and wanted to celebrate that, Allison said. He pushed past more stuff than doctors ever thought he would, and he broke barriers and proved that miracles happen, and I wanted to celebrate that. Jeremiah 1:5. Before you were formed in the body of your mother, I had knowledge of you, and before your birth I made you holy. I have given you the work of being a prophet to the nations.
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.